Hey, what's up, guys? Carl from TDG here. I figured we'd pop in for a quick video covering some of the basic currencies found in POE1 versus POE2, especially as we're getting ready to kick off this season 3.26 expansion of POE1. We thought no better time than right now to actually go through and take a look at everything that POE1 has to offer. Now, this isn't going to be a super in-depth guide. We're not going to be looking to go through min-maxing or anything like that, but this is really dedicated towards the players like Tim who have spent most of their time in POE2 and are popping over to give POE1 a chance for the first time. There's going to be a lot of things here that you've never seen before and a couple of different aspects of this that we're going to want to keep drop rates in mind for. So with no further ado, let's jump right into this. Starting from the top left, we have our transmutation, alterations, annulments, chance orbs, exalts. Don't worry about this one, you'll probably never see it. Regal orb, alchemy orb, Chaos Orb. This was a Veiled Chaos, a Divine Orb. We have our Shards on that second row. We have our Jeweler's Orb, our Fusing Orb, our Chromatic, a stacked deck seen here. We have our Harbinger Orb, or our Orb of Horizons, Orb of Unmarking, Orb of Regret, Orb of Scouring, Blessing Orb, Val Orb. Lots of orbs. And then the last two or three that we have is an Engineering, a Binding, an Ancient, and then this Fracturing Shard turns into a Fracturing Orb. But all right, seriously though, on a more serious note, let's run through this. We're going to go one by one. So we have our scroll fragments here. Really don't have to pay much attention to this. This is going to be things that you're going to pick up and you're going to end up getting from transferring white items, something like this to a vendor, and this would pop up. You can also trade some of these basic currencies down here in, but again, I really wouldn't pay much mind to this. This next one might seem simple, but it's actually going to be a pretty big point of contention of things that you're going to want to watch out for in POE1 versus POE2. And it's actually as simple as Scrolls of Wisdom. In POE2, Scrolls of Wisdom become pretty obsolete pretty quick because of the vendor Sin, who is just able to identify your all of your items in your inventory at the click of a button. That's not going to be the case here in POE1. As you can see in my inventory, I actually have a full stack that I run around with all the time. Pay no mind to all of these unidentified items. Busy, bored, didn't really want to do it, but the point still stands. Another one that's going to be different, Portal Scrolls. Yeah, these don't exist in POE2 at all. They do here. If you find yourself out of town and don't have one of these, get ready for a long walk. I would actually recommend logging it to the character select screen to port you back to the nearest town. That's probably the quickest way to do it, but just make sure you're managing these. Keep it short and sweet there. Enkindling orbs. These are pretty cool. So these are going to add an enchantment to a utility flask. Now, flasks are going to be a little different in POE1. They don't exist in POE2. Really, all you have to know is that when the flask is active and this is on it, it cannot gain flask charges. That is going to be almost the exact opposite of the instilling. What's going to happen with the Orb of Instilling is as you're gaining flask charges through killing enemies, as soon as the flask hits full, it is going to automatically proc itself and go back to being used. With this being said, basically while you're mapping, this should guarantee you almost 100% uptime. Then jumping in, we have just some basic currencies. We have our Blacksmith Whetstone. That's going to be going to upgrade the quality on a weapon, which typically is going to add increased damage. Armor Scrap going on improving the quality on armor. That's just going to make your bases a little bit better, higher evasion, higher energy shield, higher armor, stuff like that. The baubles, those are going to be getting used for quality on your flasks. You can see the 20% quality there. That normally is going to increase the amount of time with the duration of a flask charge. We have our Gems Cutters Prisons. These are exactly the same. These are GCPs, exactly the same as in POE2. They upgrade the quality of a gem. Actually, I'm lying. There's a slight difference. In POE2, they give 5% quality per. In POE1, I believe it is still 1% per. Chisels. Yeah, chisels. This doesn't really exist, I don't think, in POE2. This is going to add quality per map, which is going to give you increased rarity, increased quality, increased pack size, things like that. Moving back over to the bottom left here, Orb of Transmute, normal to a blue or white to a blue, very simple. Orb of Alteration, this does not exist in POE2. This is going to take a magic item, and then it will let us re-roll it. Orb of Annulment. This is going to take a random modifier from any type of item and remove it. If we look here, we have fire damage to spells, we have increased cast, increased crit chance, and stun duration. Click, and we lost the fire damage to spells. Actually, that worked out pretty well in our favor, but you can see that's how that would work. First point of contention, well, first large point of contention, Chance Orbs. They work very different in POE1 versus POE2. POE2, you either get the unique or you don't. POE1, it is able to be combined with the Scouring Orbs, an orb that absolutely doesn't exist in POE2. Now, we're going to use that wand as our same target dummy. I can wipe it. It is now white again. I come over, I grab my chance, and I say, please give me something good, and I get well, not good. I want to try again, and I can repeat this into my heart's content until I get either the drop I'm looking for or something that maybe is pretty decent. But anyway, that's a little gambling that can occur there. Another big point to talk about here, exalted orbs. So an exalted orb in PoE2, extremely common. Probably going to have about the same drop rate as a chaos orb in PoE1. So we want to make sure that we're recognizing that while this is doing the exact same thing, smacking a new affix onto a rare item, giving you no more than 3 prefixes or 3 suffixes, no more than 6 total affixes, it is going to be about as rare as a chaos orb is, roughly speaking, in PoE2. That's, no math behind that, but that's just really a feel game. Don't worry about this guy. Like I said earlier, you're never going to see this. If you do, I hate you. Regal orbs, this is really basics. Takes a blue item to a yellow item. It's going to add either a prefix or a suffix. It only adds 1. That's really all it does. Alchemy orb takes a white item to a yellow item. That's going to be very different from PoE2 as well. As you can see here, we have like 300 of these. If we jump down here, there's another 300 of them. I believe this tab here, we have 700 of them. They're extremely common in PoE1. Don't be afraid of using these. Chaos orbs. If you're in Trade League, this will be your main source of trading currency. PoE2, it actually is the exalted. That's what makes me say that these are about inverted on their drop chances. It does the exact same thing. It's going to re-roll a rare item with new modifiers and new values, things like that. Divine Orb, if you know what it is in PoE2, you know exactly what it is in PoE1. It's going to randomize the values of modifiers. So you can see here, 94% increased spell chance. We hold the Alt button down. You can see the ranges between 80 and 99. If I used the Divine here, it would roll it somewhere between 80 and 99 for me. The big difference between this and PoE1 and PoE2 is I believe in PoE2, it can also roll the implicit roll, where in PoE1 it does not. I believe that would be the difference. Here we have just our fractures, or our fragments, excuse me. Augmented Orb. I don't know if that's in PoE2. I don't think it is, but that would basically add an extra modifier. Jeweler's Orbs is going to be something that you're not used to seeing in PoE2, but we'll identify that. And basically what that does is you get to add sockets. Fusing, well, as you guessed, it fuses. Chromatics. This is something you don't see, but you can see we have red, red, blue, red. Now we have red, 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 green, red, 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 blue, red, red. So you get the point. But something that's really important here is you can see that that item requires level 84, but 144 strength. So that 144 strength is actually going to weight how common the colors are. So it would be, because it's 144 strength would be identified as the red. It is way more common for this item to roll red versus, say, this, which you could see has a dex requirement. And look at that. We have 3, 4, 5. Dex versus strength. That was the chromatic. If we pop over to a Harbinger Orb, that allows you to roll a map higher. This is very, very important when you get to the higher map tiers. So this is another point of contention. You don't actually have maps in PoE2, so we won't dive into that right now either. But this will let you roll. This right here is a T3. It would let me roll that up. It is now a T4. The Horizons, on the other hand, takes this T4 and lets me say, I hate cells map. Look, I have another T4, but now it's Mausoleum. Oh, but now it's relic chambers. And you can roll different maps. That's pretty important because you're trying to complete this. We won't delve into this right now. Another day for another time. The Orb of Unmaking. This is going to be yet another tree, but you basically can spend these skill points here. If I was to apply that, I would use an Orb of Unmaking and that would let me remove them. That is how that works. Regret Orb. Literally what it says, I regret a passive. I use this and I remove a passive. Talked about the Orb of Scouring. Orb of Blessing, or Blessed Orb. Basically what that's going to do is that's going to re-roll the implicit. So you can see the plus 23 chaos resistance. That can go from 17 to 23. If I use that on that item, it would re-roll it. Val Orbs corrupts the item. Way more unpredictable, in my opinion, than PoE1, than in PoE2. Way more risky in PoE1. Refractoring Shards, you get a stack of 20, turns into a Fracturing Orb. This is going to function basically the exact same as in PoE2. You get to basically lock an item suffix, or affix, I should say, in place, and then you could do whatever you want with all the other crafting materials and modifiers, and it won't change. Engineering Orb, if you ever use this, I'll be amazed. It'll improve the quality of a strongbox. Binding Orb, this is pretty cool. So this will do basically a fusing and an alchemy all in one. It will upgrade a normal item to a rare with up to 4 linked sockets. Ancient Orb, another really cool item, reforges a unique equipment as another in the same class. So if I took this Princess Saber and I hit that with this, actually we can do it here. I will waste away this chainmail. This will turn into another legendary body armor. It's real nifty. So that's about all of the main currencies that are here. One other thing I just wanted to briefly touch on that's a major difference is going to actually be, if I can find the proper tab in my junk here, is actually going to be essences. You can see there's way more essences in this game. Each one of them, I'm not going to go over every one of them, but each one of them has a very specific thing that it does. Some are going to do life, some are going to do fizz damage, others are going to do lightning res. You have, fire damage, attack speed. You get the point. Really, the point here is to make mention of the 5 key ones, which are going to be Remnant of Corruption, Insanity, which is going to be able to give you some pretty gnarly stuff. We come over here to the Essence of Horror. That helmet giving you a gem socketed, deal 30% more elemental damage. That basically gives you an extra link into a gem. Delirium here, basically the same type of thing. Helmet giving you +2 to socketed auras. And there's some other really good stuff here as you go through this and can look at it. And then Hysteria is going to be, again, more or less the same. Some gain physical damage as extra fire, penetration. Yeah, just some really, really cool modifiers. We don't have greater ones here, but essentially the deafenings, and as they get higher and higher, they become this. You get the normal to a rare or able to reforge a rare, guaranteeing another property. So those are just some things I wanted to touch on. And with that being said, we will catch you guys all in the next one. Be sure to like it if you liked it, share, and comment down below. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. We'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.